Welcome all for another get together. Once again, we're doing movies to comics, or shall we say in this case, TV to comics. The only thing I love better than seeing a popular and in some cases cult movie get expanded upon as either a video game, a TV show, or a comic book, it's just always intriguing when they actually make use of the license, of the formula, of the characters, and even make it appealing to even just other fans of those other formats. You know something's good if you say you do a kick-ass, first-person shooter, and it makes people want to check out the movie it's based on. Same difference with a comic book. So there's been plenty of people, I guarantee you, who probably read Star Wars or Alien vs. Predator or RoboCop comic and said, when I'm old enough, I actually want to read or, some of the books or watch the actual movies that this is based off of. And lo and behold, we have another winner here, fortunately. We have the FX groundbreaking TV show, The Shield. Now, again, this has never been an easy to watch show, but it came out after The Sopranos, after 24, and was said to inspire plenty of other shows, such as Breaking Bad, and at least according to Bryan Cranston. And Breaking Bad, I would definitely like to see in comic book form, but I have to applaud what they did here with The Shield. It was set sometime after the first two seasons, and these comics came out in 2004, sometime before season 3, and they had some exclusive interviews. You can find the trade paperback online. It's a shame they didn't make any more comic books of this, but I think they did pretty good with the license. And much like most of the 24 comics, I like how they at least took a big key part of it and had a few Easter eggs for hardcore fans of it, but that there's some recurring characters who you often see in the background of the police station. And for those who don't know, it involved the show itself ran for, again, 7 successful years, and it was really good at wrapping up its crazy just storyline. It involved a bunch of Vice Squad detectives who decide to continually break the law to put money in their pockets, while keeping it very neutral to where the viewer can either root for them to get away with these various heists that they pull off, or they can root for them to get caught. But either way, creator Sean Ryan wanted just more than just a typical Cervical or Training Day type scenario. He wanted a cool, just cat and mouse thriller, and just showing how all the characters could show different sides to them. Investigating detectives Dutch and Claudette would sometimes go along with whatever the agenda was of the LAPD, and the main captain was too busy getting his feet wet trying to pursue a career in politics, and unfortunately would take a few bribes as well, or at least go along with whatever the so-called agenda was. And the show in general was good at just being claustrophobic, having intense interrogations, but what made it even more different than procedurals of the past, as well as appealing to anyone who's into just about any procedural, was just how intense they would get with showcasing just these off-color crimes, and slowly have them blend into each other to where they would ricochet like an actual bullet, to where you're just like, whoa, who would have guessed that this subplot was going to become part of the main A plot, plot A, plot B, and plot C all collided together, and it made you want to rewatch an episode because you wondered how they got there. It was pretty good at avoiding predictability, and it would appeal to just as many people who want to watch something like a hard-boiled crime thriller like Seven, or even Goodfellas, or even a typical procedural like Law and Order, NYPD Blue, CSI, Homicide, you name it. And the show was so good with action, crime, mystery, and drama. And this comic book is no exception. It takes a very intriguing storyline, and then once again, it follows. It does just as good a job as a typical episode of the show, and it was cool that they had interviews with both the main actor Mike Chiklis as well as the creator of the show. But I loved how they focused on lead baddie Vic and his Vice Squad crew, basically trying to extort some criminals who have stolen a painting, and then at the same time they hope to actually get the painting back so that they can sell it on the black market. Unfortunately, only half of that plan comes to fruition. I'll let fans of the show read it to find out how it concludes. But I like how then they take a supporting, subplot of, again, Aceveda getting a mysterious phone call, and that's related to a female reporter who's mysteriously been murdered, and how that even collides with some of the other shady criminals that are being tracked down. I love how it showcases, just again, like the people. There's nothing worse when you see spin-off material, and even when it's been given the clear by the staff in charge, sometimes they'll hire people who just have no experience, or they've done their damnedest, but it's still ringing false. And not the case here. Yeah, the minute you read all these characters, they have a perfectly, authorized sketch that looks like the actor's persona. It sounds like the character. It doesn't sound like a random, just disposable dialogue. And I once again, I gotta applaud the imagination that's on set here, because they use a mixture of abstract artwork as well as just the typical comic book format, where the text is expanding out into 5 other corners or boxes, and all the sound effects have that awesome effect, but it's more than just a simple bam, pow, kabang, Batman effect. But I was just blown away, and I wish more people could read this comic book instead of, and many fans of the show should totally check it out, especially if you don't have time to rewatch the show right now, but want some other kind of fun story, we should be able to have something else besides just fan fiction. And as a pop culture podcast, I must applaud this comic book. This is another win. This is one that, again, it used and tackled the material so well, and it's all very satisfying. You don't feel like there's any plot holes or unfinished storyline. The show was pretty good itself at starting something and then just kind of leaving enough to the viewer's mind. Here, there's not anything really necessarily that needs to be left to your mind, other than you got a general sense of, this is becoming a cold case, but there's something bigger at play. And once again, I must applaud a comic book that's a spin-off of a TV show, because to recreate some of the established characters and then create new characters, and then again just get the style down and make it an easy read for even a non-fan. And this is just, again, this is absolute just sugar and frosted cake mixed in with plenty of other wonderful ingredients that have been well stirred and melted upon each other. So yeah, definitely check out this comic book, guys, if you are a fan of the show or just want a cool pulp novel to read and haven't necessarily seen the show. It is a success.
We'll return after these messages.
If you like small-town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and foodie debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up